They won't recoil back to their original position, and they'll get compressed and stay compressed. When they get compressed and stay compressed, or if they're allowed to run dry and break the spring, what will happen is this piston comes up and it's got a little umbrella-shaped top on it. And when it bumps against this spring, it opens that little umbrella valve. And what it does is it changes the position of this piston. So it's in the upstroke, it comes up, bumps against the spring, opens a valve up. Now it pressurizes the top side of this piston, which now forces the piston to go in the downward stroke. So if this spring ever breaks or gets compressed, this piston comes up on the top stroke and can't strike this spring. It tops out and nothing ever tells it needs to go back down. And that's one thing on these two pumps, is you never want to let these pumps run dry. When they run dry, they pump really fast and they're hammering against this spring. Every top stroke it's hammering this spring. You will break this spring with that hammering action. So it's just very important. You do run these style pumps to keep some spare springs on hand. Because if you break one or compress one, this pump's not going to work until you replace this spring. And another thing, see inside of here, got grease on a spray rig. These transfer pumps, these air motors, is the most overlooked item on the rig. Is one of the most overlooked items on the spray rig. You need to make sure these pumps are maintenance, that they get maintenance. A little shot of air tool oil or some good grease that is acceptable for the O-rings around these air motors. Don't tell your daddy I'm doing this. Here is on this smaller pump. If it can everyone see? I might just take this one out. This one here's going fine. There we go. Can everyone see me now? So, this is our cylinder. This is what the piston rides up and down inside of. It needs to be clean, needs to be debris free. And here is our piston and our O-ring. And these need to be greased or oiled periodically. Don't have to every single day. Some people has a little oiling system on them. And I always recommend, if you are using a oiler, run that oiler system on a separate airline from what your gun is being operated from. You don't want to take a chance of losing pressure and sucking oil through the airline system and sending up oil down to your gun. So, remember I talked about the umbrella piece? This piece here is what makes contact with this spring. When it makes contact with the spring, see this little valve up at the bottom here? See it moving? That's closed for the bottom. So when this is closed, this piston is actually able to move up because the air is being pressurized on the bottom portion of this O-ring, and it's driving this piston up. Now when it gets to the top stroke and it bumps up against this spring, it pushes this down, which opens that valve. Now it closes the top side of this valve off, which now the air is pressurizing the top side of this cylinder and pushing this piston back down. It's pretty simple. I mean, if you was able to see it operate, it would be a lot easier to explain. But it's a very simple mechanism, but it's very important that this spring is in working condition. Because if it reaches the top and doesn't bump against this spring, it's not going to know to open this valve up to go into the downstroke or the discharge stroke. So it's very important that this spring is in working order.